Hey guys, how you going? Today we're going to be replacing the ABS master cylinder in a 1998 105 series. The reason I'm replacing this today is because I've been having some brake creep and I'm suspicious there might be something that's not actually sealing properly in my cylinder. I'm no expert on it, but it just feels like there's brake fluid getting back past a seal somewhere. So we're going to have a go today replacing it with a second-hand one I found from Facebook that has a few less Ks on it than mine. We've tried a few other things obviously, like bleeding the brakes and checking over some of the calipers and brake pads, and haven't found anything, so we're going to have a go at this today. Let's get into it. The first thing you want to do is pump that brake pedal 40 times with the key in the off position. This is going to depressurize your brake system, and you'll probably see that the brake fluid level rises in the master cylinder. Yeah, fluid level definitely came up. The next thing I suggest is getting the air box out of the way, because you're going to need all of that space to get to the brake cylinder, and obviously when it comes time to swap it over. Now you want to get all of that fluid out of the master cylinder. Obviously there is a correct tool for this. In the video today we'll be using a drench gun. If you get that hose into the front of the cylinder, there is a little slot that you can get right down to the bottom of it, otherwise there is a step in the way. Removing this brake cylinder is super simple. There's 4 nuts and a pin, and that is it. I've seen other videos where this is a little overcomplicated and we're removing parts of the dash. Not necessary. I got to all of this without touching any of the dash, and I want to show you today how it's done. Cracked it. Oh, here we go. That's all 4. I'll freeze frame here for a sec. These are the tools I used: an impact driver, 3/8 socket, couple of extensions, and a swivel hub. Nothing more that you'll need to get these 4 nuts off. Now there's 3 brake lines that come off the master cylinder assembly, so you'll just have to obviously loosen them and undo them and take them off. There's a couple of clamps that will hold them in place. Just remove them from these clamps and you can push the brake lines out of the way. I used these little caps that came with my last set of injectors just to put over the threads and keep the moisture out of the brake lines. These fit like they were made for and they worked a treat. Have you gone to check out my website yet? Because if you haven't, you should be asking yourself, why not? I design and 3D print switch panels that replace blank plates in your Landcruiser. Go check out the website right now, have a look at what I've got up there. I've got switch panels, I've got merch, I've got links to some fantastic Vic off-road gear that I use for camping all the time. Go have a suss right now. www.wheelslandcruisermods.com.au. Probably. No dramas. Different sizes too. 3. Once your electronics are unplugged, pull the brake lines out of the way, and the master cylinder should slot out of the firewall pretty easily. Always good to do a side-by-side comparison when replacing any part, just to make sure everything's going to fit and there's no obvious differences. Be pretty hard to put that one in backwards. So then pretty simply on the inside of the car, 4 nuts to do up and 1 pin to put back in. Engine bay side, you've got 3 brake lines and 4 plugs, and that's done. Now top that brake master cylinder all the way up to the maximum line. With the key off, you want to pump the pedal about 40 times. Turn the key on, you're going to hear the accumulator motor run, and you don't want that to run much more than 40 seconds. If it runs over 40 seconds, repeat the process and keep going until it runs for only about 30 to 40 seconds. This means that your brake system is all primed up. You might have to bleed air out of the top of the lines, and then obviously once you've finished that process, you're going to have to bleed each brake caliper individually.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30. Alright, turn the key on.
Now, being ABS, some people will tell you it doesn't matter what order you bleed the brakes in. I still like to do the furthest away from the cylinder up to the closest out of habit, but really suit yourself. And then once you've bled the brakes and got some fluid through it, you are done. Get your airbox back in and you're good to drive. I mean, technically you were good to drive the whole time, but braking would have been a little bit questionable. So there you go. I hope this video might have provided a little bit of insight. I've seen some other videos online, but there was a lot more involved in taking out pieces of the interior, and it was a bit overcomplicated for my liking. So I thought I'd just make this video to show you it's not that hard. It can be done in a few simple steps. And yep, if you have any questions, just yell out, let me know. Thanks for watching.